Hi everyone, this is my review on the Kobe God Killer shoes for volleyball. Currently I have 3 pairs in my rotation. Kobe 6, Yeezy, the Bruce Lee alternates. I kind of customized these, and I also have the Kobe 5 Chaos. I think these are all the 2.0 batch, and the Kobe 6 here is sort of a 2.5. So for the Kobe 5, the traction is pretty good. On a clean court, you get a nice bite, but it does struggle a little bit on dust. And once you break it in, it does improve. But the rubber is not as durable as I had expected. So it does wear quite a bit, even just keeping it indoors, especially right here. This is my right shoe and I'm left-handed. So when I'm doing that block step, I notice here, there's a lot of wear. I would rate it as like an 8.5 out of 10 just because I wouldn't feel confident bringing it to a gym that I've never played to. I might bring another safety pair just so I don't slide out, but if I know the gym can handle it, I would definitely bring these. These are very, very fun to play in. So for the Kobe 6, I like the traction on these a little bit better than the 5s. Once you break in the outer layer of rubber, it becomes really good. And it's definitely much tackier and more solid bite, so much so that I'd be confident bringing these to a gym with me wherever, even if I knew that the court would be dusty. So my recommendation on those looking for traction between the two would probably be the Kobe 6. But if you don't mind wiping from time to time, then I would ask yourself to consider 2 things. So if you take a look at the outriggers, the first thing that you'll notice is that the Kobe 5, the outrigger is a little bit more forward and closer to the front of the shoe, whereas the Kobe 6 is a little bit more backwards, closer to the middle part. And if you look at the sole design, there's a wall right here, and for the Kobe 6, it's right here. So why is this such a big, an important thing? So for the Kobe 5s, if you're doing a block step, you'll really feel the outrigger more. And also because the shoe is a little bit flatter, you'll feel the ground. So when you're jumping, if you tend to use your toes and you don't really want that curved toe box, then this might be a better option for you. Now, as someone who leans more towards the 5s, I always wondered, why do I see more Kobe 6s in open games, or why is it preferred a little bit more? And aside from the hype, the conclusion I came to is that the Kobe 5's design has a small flaw, which is that when you make a really hard stop, there's a crease in the midsole that shows up right here. So check this out. When I press, do you notice that there's like a little bit of a line that shows up right here? So when you're playing in the Kobe 5s, you'll notice that every now and then you'll feel a little bit slow, and that's because there's no sole that's coming up in this area. And then you compare that to the Kobe 6, and you notice that that exact area where the Kobe 5 is failing, they fixed right here. Notice how the design has been updated to fix that one area. And what this does is it makes the cuts feel way more secure and fluid. And as someone who has wide feet, I often look for shoes that have strong lateral containment. Take a look at my Lyra 5s and Skylead 3s. Notice that they both have some kind of physical containment structure right here on this part. So basically, for the Kobe 5s, you really feel the outrigger, but with the Kobe 6s, with the outrigger further back in the shoe, I don't want to say it's not as much in the way, but it's not as pronounced, but it has really, really good lateral containment. Combine that with the traction, and it's a really good performer. So next we'll talk about cushioning. So in my opinion, these Kobe 5s, they have amazing court feel, but they lack a little bit of impact protection. It feels like the sole of the shoe is wider than your foot. It's actually a little bit wider than the Kobe 6 by about 1 to 2 millimeters on each side of the heel. And when I'm pronating or supinating, the shoe feels really stable. So when I'm on the heels of my foot, the Kobe 5 provides more feedback than the Kobe 6s do. I think it's because of this line in the midsole that gives this feeling. And it could also be the foam that they use because it's a little bit firmer in the Kobe 5s. So the heel is very stable. Even when I'm playing basketball, I'm posting on someone and I'm using like the heels of my foot, and I really feel that feedback And I also feel like you can feel the zoom unit a bit more because the insole is a little bit softer on the Kobe 5s. It's sort of a thick foam, and it's you really feel that stepping comfort or running comfort. For the Kobe 6s, I feel that the cushioning is probably about 50 to 70% thicker than the Kobe 5s, especially in the heel. But this isn't necessarily a bad thing, and it's also not saying much when you realize how thin the Kobe 5 cushioning is. Also, the insole takes forever to break in, but once you do, it's way more comfortable. For the Kobe 5, there's basically no cushioning under your heel, but there's a bunch around it to make it feel stable. And also when jumping, if you're a midfoot striker, you can feel it. So honestly, that is a great design consideration. But for the Kobe 6, you just have more foam, so the impact protection is a little bit better, especially when you're landing, and there's more foam under the zoom unit as well, so you get a really plush ride. As you break in the insole, you'll feel the zoom unit more, and I feel like the zoom unit is a slightly higher PSI in the Kobe 6, or maybe it's thicker. I'll have more insight once I test the 3.0s. So next we'll talk about uppers, and this sort of ties in well to the whole lateral containment section that we were talking about earlier. So what I like about the Kobe 5s is the upper materials are synthetic, so they're pretty tight at first if that's what you like, and they make you feel really secure. And in the heel, the padding around your ankle is way nicer than the 6s, maybe about 2 to 3 times thicker. So you really get a good first impression of the 5s, like, wow, really hugs my ankle, really hugs my foot. I feel the zoom, the insole is very soft, and it's very, very fun to play in, and it's also extremely stable. Now for the 6s, it's the complete opposite. When you first put them on, you think, wow, these are pretty high off the ground. The outrigger is not as noticeable, and the upper is kind of flimsy. You get a little bit of heel slips, so honestly, before you break it in, it's truly a work in progress. But the story changes completely when you break these shoes in. They just become so soft. And although the heel padding is not as nice as the 5s, it's still decent. What I notice is that the insole kind of cups your heel and it fills up that empty space underneath it, and that helps it feel more stable. So the general philosophy of the shoe is you don't really appreciate a lot of the features until you break it in, and then you start to realize that a lot of the designs, just like the outrigger, are an upgrade from the Kobe 5. So the Kobe 6s, they just get better and better over time. So for the 5s, I feel like I really like them a lot, and they just get more and more responsive over time, which if that's what you prefer, then go for it. And honestly, I think it's very poetic that the 5s are the shoe that Kobe won his 5th and final championship in. They're very performance driven, very like locked in objectively, like all the qualities that you're looking for in a basketball shoe, they would be in this shoe. Whereas for the 6s, they're more refined and comfortable, and they don't really give you a good first impression, but there are a lot of details that you don't notice about the shoe until you play in them for a while. So in conclusion, if I had to describe both of these shoes, I would say that the Kobe 5 is powerful and the Kobe 6 is fluid. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more volleyball shoe reviews. If you're looking for insight on what shoe to purchase, head over to r/volleyballshoes on Reddit, which is a subreddit I created to help people make informed decisions on their next purchase. Bye for now.